Hello everyone, Drew CPA here for Biz Mondays. We are going to look at the W-9. How do we fill it out? A simple form, but we're going to go through it and show you what is required, what information you need to put on this form W-9. Quick video, check it out. Okay, let's get right into our W-9. A relatively simple form, but it packs a lot of information. So it starts off by asking for the name. So your name, and this name, as it suggests, I'm going to be flipping back and forth between the lines and the instructions because I want you to see it as it's listed there in the instructions. So your name and business name. So what name goes here? The name that goes here is the name that matches the tax return. So whatever tax return you're filing, individual or entity, that's the same name that you place here. And as it is stated down, if we scroll down to line 1, you must enter the following on the line. Do not leave this line blank. So definitely put something on that line. The name should match the name on your tax return. That's what it says there. And then it lists a few things. Generally, if you're an individual, it's the name on that individual's tax return. If you're sole proprietorship, it's the name that's listed on your 1040. Single member LLC, also 1040. Partnerships, corporations, S corps, it's the name that shows up on the various documents. So whenever you see name here at the top, that is the name that it's asking for. Then the business name is, if you have a DBA, you can put it there. Or if you have a business name, you can put the business name right there. But usually if you put the business name here, you don't have to put the business name here again, as it states if it's different from above. So if you've already placed the name here, no need to put the name here. So that's number 1. That's number 2. Number 3, you are going to check the appropriate box for your federal tax classification. So individuals, you're going to check this box. All right, so if you're an individual, or if you're running a sole proprietorship, or you have organized a single member LLC. So if you've organized an LLC and that LLC is considered to be what is called a disregarded entity, you're going to be checking this box. If it's a C Corp, this box, S Corp, this box, partnership and trust, you're going to select the appropriate boxes. If you have organized an LLC and you have chosen another tax designation, for example, you want to be taxed as an S Corp, or you want to be taxed as a partnership, or if you have an LLC that is a multi-member LLC that is not disregarded, you're not going to select this, but rather you are going to select this option right here. So that rounds out number 3. Number 4 has to do with exemptions. There are certain situations where individuals are exempt, and so you get an exempt code, and you will place that code here. You would place that code here. Exemption from FATCA reporting. FATCA just means Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act. That's all that means, and you'll get a special coding for that. Now, as we're talking about exemption, just so you know, one of the importance of this form, why is this form filed to begin with? As a matter of fact, let's scroll down. The purpose of this form: an individual or entity who is required to file an informational return with the IRS must obtain your correct taxpayer identification number, which may be your social security number, individual tax identification number, an adoption tax identification number, or your employer identification number. So these are the numbers that you're going to be furnishing at the top of the form. I'll scroll up there in a second. But why is this important? Failure to produce one of these pertinent numbers results in the entity that you're dealing with that is about to pay you, that entity might have to withhold. So if you do not furnish the correct tax identification number, that entity is compelled to withhold 24% of what they're basically about to pay you. And it's stated right here in the form. If we scroll down, we'll see it right here. Okay. Persons making certain payments to you must, under certain conditions, withhold and pay to the IRS 20% of such payment. This is called a backup withholding. Payments that may be subject to backup withholding includes interest, tax-exempt interest, dividend, brokers and barters exchange transactions, rent, royalty, non-employee pay, payments made in settlement of payment card and third-party network transaction, and certain payments from fishing boat operators. Real estate transactions are not subject to a backup withholding. So basically, you will not be subject to backup withholding on payments you receive if you give the requester the correct tax identification number, meaning all the numbers, all the different tax identification numbers I just mentioned: Social Security, EIN, adoption tax identification number, all of that good stuff. Okay, so if you provide that, then you're not susceptible to this if you basically fall under one of these payment types. And it states it right here. Payments you receive will be subject to backup withholding if you do not furnish your TIN to the requester. You do not certify. So basically, if you do not provide information and then you don't sign this form, then whoever is giving you the money, if it falls under one of those situations, can indeed withhold 24%. So you want to fill this form out, and you want to make sure that you put the correct information on it. The rest of it is just your address, city, and zip. And account numbers are optional. You don't have to list that, but you do have to fill in this information here. This is very important. Failure to put this information will trigger that 24% withholding if they are paying you for one of the things that I mentioned before. So put your social security in here if you're an individual, or your employer identification number if you are an entity that possesses such a number. So definitely put that in, and that rounds out the information you have to provide. You then have to certify, all right, under penalty of perjury, that the information you provided above is correct. And you're going to sign and date the form. And that basically is the W-9 form, a relatively simple form. It's basically asking for your name or your entity name, your tax designation, your address, your tax identification number, and then it's asking you to sign in certification that that information is true and correct. True and correct. All the instructions are at the bottom. All the instructions. So anything that you think you are not clear on, it is at the bottom. So simply enough form. Fill it out. Make sure that if you are. So that is the W-9 form and how to correctly fill it out. As a business, before you pay someone any money, make sure you have a W-9 form on file. All businesses should have a W-9 form on file for every vendor before they pay that vendor. And if you're on the other end, just be aware that if you're transacting business, especially if you're an independent contractor, these forms are going to be coming your way for you to fill out and submit. Okay, all it really wants is for you to put your name, the name under which you want a potential 1099 to be issued to you, the name, put your name on that form, and your correct tax identification number. Okay, so if you want that to be issued in the name of your entity, you're going to put your entity's EIN. If that's going to be issued in your name, you're going to put your social security number. So that basically is a W-9 form, relatively easy form to fill, to complete, and to fill in that information. So definitely be on the lookout for that if you're on either end, the business end looking to receive, or if you're working with a company, they might be sending you this. So thank you for watching Biz Mondays. We are looking to provide you with business information. So we hope that this was beneficial for you. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends.